Okay, how's it going? It is a Saturday, and I am spending my Saturday in my warehouse washing chairs. Why? Because I have an order of 36 chairs and 6 tables that needs to go out tomorrow. Sorry, gotta talk while I'm working, so I'm gonna disappear off camera when I'm setting the chairs on the stack. I've either got to deliver it tomorrow morning or this afternoon. I'm not really sure. I've still got to talk to the customer, but either way, I have to wash 36 chairs and 6 tables. And as you can see, I'm in my warehouse. There's stacks of chairs there, and over there you can see some tablecloths hung up. And at least when you start out in this business, if you go the route that I have chosen to go, which is more weddings, quinceañeras, baby showers, that kind of thing, and less birthday parties, you're going to spend a whole lot of time washing tables and washing chairs. And that's all right as long as you understand what you're getting into. It's not hard work. It is definitely not mentally taxing, but it is a little on the tedious side. You really begin to appreciate little things like a magic eraser or a toothbrush that'll get you into some little nooks and crannies that the dirt likes to hide in, or if somebody kind of scuffs up your chair, a little bit of sandpaper kind of makes it better. I mean, it's not going to fix it. That chair is always going to have that scuff on it, but it makes it at least to where it's passable as a rental again. It's not going to scrape your customer's hand as they're moving the chairs around, which is really what you're wanting. I try to keep my tables and chairs clean and in good shape, and I have some of them that have been scraped or dinged or gouged to the point that they are no longer an item that I feel like I want to rent out, particularly my white chairs, because people rent them for lower budget weddings. But I am saving them as long as the chair is structurally sound and it's not dangerous. I've got a place in the back of the warehouse that I have put them, and eventually when I get enough of them, 20, 25 or so, I will start advertising them as B grade, meaning that they are items, they're chairs that are still good to sit on, or tables that are still good to eat off of, maybe, but they are not chairs and tables that are what people think of as wedding quality. And so instead of renting them for $275, which is what these white chairs rent for in my city, at least me and 2 other companies have them priced at that point, I will probably rent my B grade ones for I don't know, $2, $2.25, something like that. Who knows? And that gives me a few more chairs if I ever come to a time where all of my white chairs are out. And the same thing goes for the black chairs as well. I have actually had weekends where I pretty much had all my white chairs or all my black chairs rented out. Maybe not every single chair, but like if I have 220 white chairs and I have 212 of them rented out, well, pretty much all my white chairs are out. You know, who's gonna rent 8 white chairs? So anyway, I'm washing chairs. It's gonna take a while before my company gets big enough and that I have enough employees that I'm not washing chairs. And I probably always will do a little bit of washing chairs because I will be training my employees how to wash tables and chairs. It is not something that you think of as all that technical. It's definitely not rocket science, but I have learned over the nearly 3 years that I've been doing this now that there are faster and slower ways of doing it. There are more efficient ways. There are ways that work better. And there are places on the chairs where dirt likes to stick in. And if you want your customers to think you have the best looking chairs in town, then you need to learn where those places are, and you need to be able, I got my sweatshirt wet. You need to be able to train your employees on the best and fastest methods for cleaning chairs, not only to get them done efficiently, but also to make them look good for your customers. And you are going to learn to hate a few things because you're going to see these things on your tables and chairs, and they will drive you up the wall. Gum is something that I have grown to hate. I would suggest not renting white chairs to body shops or mechanic shops, because inevitably you will get greasy black fingerprints on them. The mechanic shop wants to have a Christmas party, great, rent them the black chairs. Or if you don't have black chairs, the brown chairs. Whatever color you have, do not rent them the white chairs. You will regret it. Now, this next one is, actually the next couple of them are kind of sensitive. One of them, don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to be politically incorrect or insensitive here, but there is a particular religion that has a religious holiday, or maybe one, I don't know, maybe more than one. I don't know enough about it. But this particular religion has a religious holiday that has to do with colors. And when I rent out chairs for people participating in this holiday, the chairs come back covered in body paint. It does come off the chairs and it does not stain them. But It doesn't come off easy. You're gonna spend a lot of time scrubbing. And it's not about those people's religion, whether or not I agree with it, which I don't, but whether or not I agree with it, they have the right to their faith. It is about the freaking body paint on my chairs. And it drives me up the wall, and it takes a lot longer to clean the tables and chairs that have little spots of blue and red and black and yellow all over them. By the way, anytime you have to sand on a chair to make it look better, very, very lightly. You can always sand more. You can't sand less. And if you sand too much, you will ruin the chair and it will not look good and it can't go up. Anyway, back to the things that I hate on tables and chairs. Besides the body paint, the next one, which can or cannot be sensitive, is glitter. I get glitter from two different events usually. Bachelor parties, because apparently strippers like to coat themselves with glitter. And that glitter inevitably comes off on my chairs. And it is hard to get all the little spots of glitter off, although not nearly as bad as body paint. The other event that I get glitter from, not as often, but little girls' birthday parties. And it's not hard to get the glitter off as far as you have to scrub hard or anything like that. You just have to wipe it off with your rag and rinse your rag multiple times. And after you think you've wiped it all off, look again, because you've inevitably missed a few little flakes of glitter. What else do I hate on chairs besides glitter? Brand new blue jeans. Brand new blue jeans will sometimes, on a white chair, leave this nice blue tint. It is not permanent. It does come off. It does not come off with a rag. It's another time when the magic eraser is your best friend. So when you're washing white chairs, magic eraser will get rid of the blue from brand new blue jeans. What else do we hate? Mustard. We hate mustard. Mustard, when it is dried, is very hard to get off of your chairs completely. Even when you get most of the mustard off, it's going to leave a tiny little bit of the yellow coloring behind on the plastic. And sometimes you can get it off and sometimes you can't. Eventually it does fade. It doesn't ruin the chair, it's just highly annoying. Another thing is frosting that has a lot of food coloring in it. Sometimes that can be a little bit hard to get off. Typically it doesn't stain the chair, but it's kind of like the mustard. Sometimes there's just a little bit left and it's really faint, and maybe only you can see it, maybe your customers can't. But if you care about your business and you want your chairs to look as good as possible, it's going to drive you up the wall, and it does eventually fade. Things like crayons, Sharpie markers, most of the time you can get them off, but it is kind of a pain. Requires lots of scrubbing. Sometimes for the crayons, I use the green Scotch-Brite pads. That does seem to do a better job on the crayon. On Sharpies, there are various tricks. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. Going over the Sharpie with a dry erase marker and then washing the dry erase marker off. Most of the time we'll get it. Occasionally it does not. Rubbing alcohol sometimes works then. You don't ever want to try anything like acetone because it can actually melt your chairs sometimes, depending on the exact manufacturer and what they made it out of. What else do we hate? Silly string. Silly string is this pink chemically based string that comes in a can. People have it at parties. It sprays all over. It's a lot of fun. If you're not sure what silly string is, there's a Tom Hanks movie called Big, and when he is an adult and is in his apartment and his friend who is still a kid is over and he gets his first paycheck and they're just buying all kinds of junk food and toys to play with and that kind of thing. One of the things they're playing with is silly string. This pink string will, if left on there long enough, stain your chairs. It's less of an issue for me in the events that I have, but it's a couple of times. If you get into bounce houses, you really will hate silly string because silly string will stain most vinyl, which is what most bounce houses are made out of. And for me, the only thing that I use on a regular basis that's made out of that type of vinyl is my tents, which are really expensive. And if somebody gets silly string on my tent, I'm gonna be really upset because it's gonna cost me $800 or $900 to replace that tent top if I cannot get it cleaned off. Also, on the subject of vinyl, a lot of your crepe paper type decorations, if they are up against the vinyl of your tent and are rubbing for hours like it's blowing in the wind, or if they get wet while they're touching your tent, that will stain the top of your tent sometimes. I've seen some pictures from other rental people on Facebook of these nice blue and red stains on their tent tops, and yes, just like me, they were not happy. So same thing with bounce houses because they're made out of the same type of vinyl. Make a policy for your tents and or bounce houses that the customers are not allowed to attach any decorations directly to the tent top and are not to have any decorations actually touching the tent top. They can tape or wire decorations to the frame of the tent, no problem, it's safe. Zip tie. They do not want to attach anything to the tent in any way, whether it is tape, which leaves a sticky residue, or you're worried about the color, or they staple something to it. You will learn to hate staples. Your customers will do things like staple flowers to your wedding arches. I don't mind if they use tape on the wedding arches. I don't like the foam double-sided tape. That's really hard to get off, particularly on the wooden arches. But tape on your metal arches usually should just be And that really about covers all of the things that you might grow to hate as a rental company operator. Here's what I was talking about earlier about the body paint. I don't know if you can see, there's a tiny little green dot there, a couple little green dots and a smudge there. Sorry, I don't know how to make the camera just turn to where I could aim it properly. I hope you can see that. Those little green dots are body paint from that holiday, and it's been a couple of months now, I think. I don't know for sure because I don't keep track of their, probably should. I need to know when different holidays and festivals of different religions are. I've just gotten now to where I keep up with the school districts and when they are in and out and holidays and that kind of thing. Anyway, I thought I had gotten all of the body paint off of all of my chairs. And these ones have actually gone out a couple of times. Well, more than a couple of times, probably a dozen times since then. And yet I'm still finding spots of body paint. And I don't get mad at the customer. I don't yell at the customer. And most of the time, they don't even know. But at some point, when I have the time to enforce it and employees, and I can check all my tables and chairs and rental items as they come back in as thoroughly as I should, which I admit I currently am not, then I will be able to start charging cleaning fees. I already have a cleaning fee written into my contract, but I don't really enforce it because honestly, I can't say for sure who rented what and when it came back and that kind of thing. So it's really not fair to assume that one particular customer did it. But when I have the ability to check things in and look them over properly, then I will do that. But until then, it's something that I'm just gonna have to deal with. And until you get big enough in your party rental company, you are probably gonna have to deal with that as well. And this is something that, one of the few things that I've made videos about that I'm pretty sure, I don't think I've seen a video from any of the other people about the things that get on the chairs and tables that they hate. And I've really only seen one other guy besides me do a video while he was actually cleaning the chairs, and he was describing his process of cleaning the chairs. His name is Lee, lives in Canada. His channel is The Rental Guy. Check him out. And he washes chairs differently than I do. He uses a pressure washer. I don't. For one thing, I have had water get inside these chairs and stay inside and start rusting the chairs from the inside out, and also at the joints, when that water does leak out and it started to rust, you get these nice orange streaks that you have to scrub off, and I just don't want my chairs to look that. And I'm not saying that his do. I don't know how he gets away with not having those. I'm sure he's got something figured out. He's been doing this a lot longer than I have, and knows a lot more about the rental business than I do. And like anybody else, there are things I see him doing that I'm thinking, wow, that's brilliant, I should do that. And there are things that I see him doing that I think, no, that's not so smart, I won't ever do that. Which is why you watch a bunch of different channels and listen to a bunch of different people. And the more people you listen to, the more videos you watch, eventually you'll get to the point where you go, like me, well, I think that's brilliant, or no, I'm not going to do that. And that's fine. You have to decide what you need to do to run your own business. If you're wondering what I keep using the toothbrush for, let me show you. Right there, these two little tabs on these chairs on the back, right in these tiny, the little corners inside there on both sides, dirt likes to hide. And so that's what I'm doing with the toothbrush. That's my best way to get them out of there. I have some dish brushes that one of my part-time employees asked me to buy because he thinks it works better on those. Which I'm like, okay, fine, I'll spend a couple of dollars on a dish brush if you do a better job of cleaning the chairs. I really don't care. It's definitely worth it, and it made the guy happy. I personally have tried those dish brushes because he told me how great they were gonna be, and I didn't like it, so I went back to my toothbrush. And again, the body paint. I've got a nice little red dot here now. And it is not coming off with the rag, so we're going back to the magic eraser. So I think I have rambled on enough for today, and that's gonna make this video a little bit long. Yeah, I'm over the 27-minute mark. Didn't realize I had talked that long. I really had only anticipated for this video to be about 10 minutes. But I thought as long as I was washing chairs, I would tell you about the things that I hate seeing on the chairs because they make washing the chairs harder. And this is just something that you have to plan for. You have to be ready to spend a lot of time washing chairs if you're going to get into this business, especially until you can afford to have employees who are going to wash the chair. There are some rental companies who only wash their chairs once or twice a season, and Adam Keller, the tent guy, also a good channel, check it out, has a video about not being too concerned about how clean chairs are because the customers don't care. And when I first got into this business, I was being very, very picky and had to scrub every tiny little thing off every chair. And it was taking way too long. And by the way, I am looking at the legs to see if they have something on them that needs scrubbed off, so you got to check those too. These don't, because they were used last at an indoor event. When they get used outside, yes, you have to spend much more time washing the chairs, the legs. Anyway, he made a video about how most customers don't see the things that you see, and it's okay to just send the chairs out. And to a degree, he was right. And I am not nearly as picky as I used to be about washing chairs. But to a degree, I think he is wrong in that I would be embarrassed to let my chairs go out without having looked at each one each time. And I may be spending a lot more labor paying my employees to wash the chairs than I really have to. But I don't ever want to get a Google review that says, we rented chairs from him and they were dirty. And the few times I've seen a chair out as we were delivering that was dirty, I've been mortified. I've actually gotten Google reviews that said they appreciated how clean and well maintained my chairs are for rental items. And I like that, and I want to keep those reviews. So the truth is probably somewhere in between. Do I clean my chairs more than I need to because the customers are not going to notice it? Yes. Do other shops not clean their chairs enough and the customers notice it? Yes. And you are going to have to decide on your tables and your chairs where that is. And I know I said I was going to wrap up the video a few minutes ago, so I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up now. Just know you're going to spend a lot of time washing tables and chairs if you get into this business, and that's okay, because it's part of running your business and this is how you make money. So I'll see you next time, and remember, it's always a good time to have a party.